Hey y'all, it's your legal bestie, attorney Simone, and we have a great episode for you today. So come on in here, let us know where you're watching us from. On today's episode, we are going to cover some viral legal related moments, as well as we have a written in question where a viewer has written in a question. So it's going to give us the opportunity to give her some legal advice. And it's not just me, you guys, the jury, we want you to join as well. And I have a special guest. So each week I want to feature a special guest who is a non-lawyer who also has a platform. And that way they can ask some of the questions that my lawyer mind doesn't even think about. That way it's more interactive and we can cover not just what a lawyer thinks, but also the questions that people like yourself may have. All right, so I am so excited to bring on my buddy, Ryan Holtz. Ryan, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Simone.
Oh, this is going to be fun, nice, and messy. I almost want to publish it on Mondays going forward. So it could be like Messy Mondays. And no, that's not trademarked. So we can still use it. Yes. And don't forget, guys, if you are injured anywhere in the United States, you can call my office for a free consultation. Call 855-4-SIMONE. Give us a call before you decide or even attempt to settle with the insurance company. We would be happy to help you. All right. So I'm going to read this. The wording is kind of small, but this is a write-in email that we received. Dear legal bestie, I'm 37. I've never been married. Let me see if I can make it a little bigger here. My vision sucks. Here you go. All right, is that? Oh Lord, here you go.
I can see good though, just so you know, it's good.
I can't, so I got to just make it a little bigger on mine. Okay, now I got it. It's also because of how I have my ring light set up. It says, I'm third. Actually, you go ahead and read it since you can see it better.
Sure. Dear legal bestie. Oh my gosh. Woo! I get to take in, I'm substituting Simone's role. I'm 37, never married, one amazing child from a previous relationship, and I'm currently engaged to what many would call a catch. He's a millionaire lawyer, well-respected and generous. Here's the issue. We have been together for 6 years and engaged for 4. 4! No wedding date set. He says it's because I need to work on my insecurities because I have issues trusting him. Well, duh, that's because this man will not stop cheating. Oh, so many red flags already. Okay. And before you judge me too harshly, let me be honest. When we first got together, he was still legally married but separated. Oh my God. I was telling the other woman, although I don't know if I keep going, although he filed for divorce during our first year together. So yes, I understand karma might be spinning the block on me. But legal bestie, I have caught this man in ways that should qualify me for FBI surveillance training. I have looked at his phone. I have checked social media. I have driven past locations, put an air tag on his car, and caught him. And I've literally hidden in bushes. Holy. And nearly every single time, my investigative work has produced results I did not want, but somehow expected. Different women, different cities, some nonsense apology or straight up lies that the woman is just a colleague or client. Yet he still claims he wants to marry me. He just doesn't want to rush into something and get divorced again. Sir, it has been 4 years of engagement. What exactly are we rushing? Now, here's where I need your legal brain. He keeps mentioning a prenup whenever marriage comes up. He says because of his wealth, his practice, his properties, and his children, he has to protect himself. I understand prenups in theory. I'm not trying to take anyone's kids' inheritance, but I also don't want to sign something that leaves me looking crazy if I walk down the aisle after a decade of loyalty and private detective work, only be left with nothing if he continues his behavior after marriage. Currently, he takes great care of me and my daughter, as well as his 2 children. We have lived together for 4 years since getting engaged. My child lives with us too, and he, of course, pays the bills, bought me my dream luxury car, put me through college, and I can admit that financially I want for nothing. All I want is faithfulness. So my questions, is it reasonable for me to say I won't sign any prenup unless there is a firm date and real movement towards marriage? How do I get this man to actually set a wedding date instead of keeping me in forever fiancé purgatory? Do you think marriage will decrease the likelihood of cheating if I demand a cheating provision in the prenup? Please help before I end up in another shrub outside somebody's townhouse. Signed, engaged since the Obama administration. Wow. You can go to that one first. My gosh.
Girl. Now, you know you sound crazy. Listen, we're going to talk about this legally. I'm also going to talk to you as your bestie because I'm going to have to gather you together. And I'm so glad that Ryan is here because as a married man, I'm going to tap you. I need to tap you. I need you to tap in or tag you in. That's what do they do in WWF where it's like
you gotta tap in. You gotta tap in. Tag in. Tap in. Let's go.
So, baby, listen. Number one, a prenup can be your best friend. If that's what's holding up the wedding, which makes perfect sense that it would, him being an attorney. A prenup is whatever you want. Here's what you need to do. You need to call a lawyer in your state. If you are in Texas, if you're in the Houston area, I would call Brenda DeRuin. If you are in the Dallas area, I would call Angel Brown Revelis, as diverse attorneys, and get a consultation on drafting up a prenup. You may want to have him do like the first draft. And here's the thing, get a quote. It should be around $5,000 because y'all are going to have to go back and forth negotiating as the retainer. He is going to have to give you that money for that retainer. And he will do it. Because if he doesn't, then that is grounds for the prenup to be invalid. See, if one side has a lawyer and the other one doesn't, that's one of the biggest grounds to invalidate. So he'll give you that $5,000 or whatever the hell it is. You're going to start there. Secondly, a prenup is it's a contract. It can be whatever you want. But let me tell you something. Michael Strahan, you know, the guy with your teeth with the big old gap, the football player. His divorce, I have cited it. He was married to a funny looking white lady. And in that divorce, there was a prenup. It's cited as the worst prenup ever because she ended up getting basically more from the prenup than she would have gotten without it. Specifically in 2006, she received, and she was married to that man for like a hot, quick second. He likes to talk about the fact that I think before she had gotten pregnant, she had told him that she felt uncomfortable about having Black babies because they were going to be mixed. And he cites that, and I'm always like, and then you have the baby. So that actually doesn't make her look as bad as you. You look like the fool for proceeding to give her 2 Black babies. But this woman got $15.3 million plus $18,000 per month in 2006 for child support. And she was allowed to keep 50% of all joint assets and 20% of his income after the divorce. They were married. So I say that as an example of how a prenup can be super, super beneficial to you. But you can also add a cheating provision, but he has to still sign it. Like if he ain't going to sign it, then that doesn't matter. And now in Texas, cheating has to be actual sex. Can't be hand jobs. Can't be a little, monkey business with your mouth. It has to be intercourse. But here's the thing. If you have that cheating provision, right? And it says, it can either be a financial penalty or it can say, then the court can use that to come up with some other way to split it. Well, in most states, including Texas has a law that says if you're going to file divorce based on cheating, you have to prove that the cheating is what tore up the marriage, not anything else. Ooh. So if you have previously let him cheat and took him back, then that's not what's breaking up your marriage. That's how come they say the first time he cheats, you either got to have to go or you can divorce on other grounds. But like Desmond Scott and Christy Scott, if they had other issues in their marriage, like, we weren't having sex, we weren't getting along, other things, and it wasn't just the cheating, then the cheating can't be your grounds. What would you do? Would you?
Well, my advice to this young lady is she's a side piece with the skin of a full piece. And what I mean by that is you could put lipstick on a cow, but it's still a cow. The reality here is that she is a side piece, and he's kind of masquerading her as a full piece by giving her some skin, which is just some crumbs and some car here and there. But reality is 4 years, dragging the feet, multiple cheating scenarios. I mean, you're in the bushes, right? Let's go back to my 2 loved words, self-esteem, right? You ever see a grown woman that really loves herself and is very confident and has self-esteem hiding in those bushes? It ain't never going to get to the bushes. You're going to be done for.
You're right about that. I ain't never been in the bush. Right? I'm allergic. Yeah. I ain't never been in the bush.
Because Simone, why would you ever allow yourself to give that kind of power to somebody else over you? That's crazy, right?
And let me tell you something. I fear God. I fear my mama. I fear a Twitter beef with 50 Cent. And I fear AIDS. Okay. Girl, you're not scared of AIDS? Why do you want to marry a cheater? Now, I have seen there are some women who feel like once we get married, he's going to stop cheating. I think that is asinine. That's like getting somebody to sign a contract and then this has one set of terms, like the contract says, oh, I'll forgive you for cheating. And then after they sign it, be like, well, no, I don't want to do that anymore.
Simone, that's also in the category of people saying, let's fix our marriage, let's fix our relationship, let's go have kids, that will fix it. I promise you, having kids will not fix it. Okay.
So my question is, sis, why do you want to marry a cheater? First and foremost, do you not fear AIDS? Because I want to be very clear. You are not going to get Magic Johnson AIDS. You're going to get poor people AIDS, where you will be sitting in the lobby of a underfunded Planned Parenthood along with prepubescent teens who are simply there for discounted services to figure out why they're itching and scratching in their genitalia. Is that what you want for yourself? I don't think so. I want better for you. And I want you to think about this. And Ryan, I'd love your opinion on this. I believe there's two types of cheaters. For male cheaters, I believe that there's men who cheat because of them and men who cheat because of you. Yes, women can in fact do things that make a man want to cheat. I'm going to give examples of both. When I say a man who cheats because of you, I'd like to use the example of a client that I had who he and his wife had not been intimate for 3 years. She had told him that she had some type of a medical condition where they couldn't be intimate. She didn't like to do things with her mouth and they couldn't be intimate. And she had him adopt her nieces. So basically they adopted her nieces. She also wasn't like very nurturing. So he was the primary parent for the nieces. And whenever they would get upset and he would talk about divorce, she said, well, you'll never see the girls again because they're my nieces. You technically have no relation to them. And therefore she would keep them away. Right. So in turn, he started dating other women who didn't cuss him out, didn't throw things at his head, and would actually have sex with him. That's an example of a situation where I believe he cheated because of her behavior. If she was loving and the things that made him marry her in the beginning, or just wasn't even cruel, the bitch was cruel. She was fucking cruel. Also, he found out that in those 3 years, she never had any medical issue with sex. She just didn't want him.
Wow.
She wanted his money. He was well off. He was kind of ugly. He was well off. Yeah, she worked like Forever 21 or something. She didn't have to work. She got to be a stay-home mom, especially once they had the kids. So that's one example. When I say cheating because of him, I mean the guys who, no matter who they're with, no matter how wonderful she is, they cheat. Those are the men with mama issues. Those are the men with abandonment issues. Those are the men who think, like Cam Newton said on his show. Cam Newton said, oh, well, I got to put a woman through some stuff so that I can see how loyal she is. So if she sticks around after I put her through a bunch of BS, that's how I know she really loves me and she's loyal. Fuck you, you idiot. Like, are you? I'm sorry, I'm not cussing on him. Not like you, Cam, but the mentality is stupid. That's an example, I think, of a guy who it doesn't matter who they're with. They're going to do that. And I say, if you're dealing with cheating, you first want to assess what type it is. It sounds like with this guy, he's going to cheat on whoever he has. He's a millionaire. What do you think? What do you think?
It's untreated trauma. I mean, I will give your female audience a little hack that they can do if they're trying to figure out which end of the spectrum these cheaters are on. Number one, how comfortable is the guy with the word love? Most cheaters and people that have no self-esteem are very, they weren't told they were loved much as children. When you look at confident people going out into the world that are very, and confidence doesn't mean flex, trying to buy stuff and all that. Confidence is just, you walk into the room. I mean, listen, you don't have to say 20 words on something when it could be said with 2 or none. You know when somebody's confidence if you're in the presence of a great man. And great men are usually not unemotional. They're not emotionally unavailable. They're very emotionally available. How they show their emotion could be different, but they have no problem with that. And chances 9 times out of 10, you're like, you were told that you were loved as a child, weren't you? Oh, hell yeah. They'll go into the story. My mom or my dad or my coach or whatever it is. The people that got no self-esteem and are out there cheating, going crazy, just hear their backstory. It's untreated trauma.
Yes. I was homeless with my mama. My mama was a whore. I never knew my daddy. My daddy was married to somebody else. Because I firmly believe if a man does not trust his mother, he will never trust you.
Yes.
If he feels like the woman who made him doesn't love him or did not show him love in a way he could receive it, then how can he expect you?
And let's take it a step further too, Simone.
Let's do
That
it.
people equate childhoods with, even if somebody says, "Yo, I was broke as a joke and I come from humble beginnings, I had nothing." I was there. That doesn't mean, sure, you were cash poor, but that doesn't mean you were soul poor, right?
That's
There's a
right.
lot of people that grew up completely broke, but they are so character rich
Yes.
that's why they become uber successful, because you can't just, oh, I know, no. It's if you emotionally did not get deposits in your soulful currency account, as I like to say it, right? Emotionally where you deposited into. And that's why I say a lot of women out there, it's kind of like, what do we call it? Trauma bonding. I'm not a psychologist, for the record,
Bonding.
but let's just talk trauma bonding. That same woman has issues that the guy does. Some would argue that they might be made for each other.
Yes.
Right?
Side
piece,
I want to get to that. Yep, you're right.
Side piece, acting as a, with a full piece, with skin of a full piece, but you're still side piece.
It's still a side piece. You are the coleslaw, as they used to call the mistress on Love and Marriage Huntsville. And so
yes,
I think I would say this in conclusion. So this is my bestie component, where like, this is what I would tell my best friends, my homegirls, drunk at brunch, if they were in this scenario. Number one, as you can see, I don't judge. I'm friends with a lot of whores, a lot of them. And I love, they're hilarious. They're fun. I love traveling with them internationally. That's another story. But but really, in this situation, sis, it sounds like you're dealing with a guy, no matter who he's with, he is going to cheat. Secondly, my mother always taught me, when there's someone that you really like, you want to be serious with, you need to ask him, what value are you looking for a woman to bring into your life? Ask yourself, what value do you bring into his? Because it sounds like he's not valuing you. Number one, he knows you ain't going nowhere because you haven't. But also, like, you're a pretty girl. I'm assuming, because he's rich. They don't usually like ugly girls. You're a pretty girl. I think what he values is you're docile. You are not confident. So he doesn't have to worry about you going elsewhere because he knows where you are. He can also, he's got you addicted to the lifestyle that he's provided, right? So it's like a drug. You are under his control. And therefore, you have to think, when you think about what value, you also have to think about what am I offering he can get elsewhere, right? Sex, you can get that anywhere. And as you think about this, really think about it from the perspective of, the truth of the matter is, as far as this cheating goes, let's be real. Do you even really care? I don't think you do. I don't think you care about the cheating. I think you care about the embarrassment. I think you care about it when it's someone that you know, or you're someone that you know or you interact with. Because the truth of the matter is, we both know, and I'm saying this based on what she said in what I believe to be her self-confidence, is you don't feel like you can provide yourself with the life that he has provided you. He has now gotten you addicted to that lifestyle, and there is nothing wrong with it. So you may want to do like what my granny used to say, which is, if you know that man is cheating and you ain't finna do nothing about it, don't say nothing. Act like you don't notice. Because it is better for that man to think you don't know than to think you do know and are going to tolerate it and accept it, because they are more likely to lose respect for you. So what you may actually want to do is, honestly, through this process where you're negotiating the prenup, because no, the ultimate answer is no. A prenup is not going to stop his cheating. And he's a lawyer. No. So he knows, even if he doesn't, he's probably going to word it in a way where it might be vague to define what the fucking cheating is. Or the penalty might be, oh, okay, I got to buy you some fake titties, like some plastic surgery. The penalty is not going to be no prenup. I can guarantee you that. That's not going to be the penalty. So what you may want to do is have a therapy session with him and a therapist, or maybe you guys can outline what works for you in your marriage. Because just because a man cheats doesn't mean he doesn't love you. This may be the only type of love that he is capable of providing to you or any other woman. In other words, if you leave him, he's going to do the same thing to someone else. And I know some women hate watching other women reap the benefits of their years of turmoil with the man. So if you feel like he loves you, which it appears you do feel that way because you're here, you feel like he loves you, but that this is the best you'll get from him, then maybe you just need to work on, I wouldn't even call it an open relationship. I would call it a relationship. You could have agreements, things that say you must always come home. If you are going to have sex with somebody else, it's going to be out of town. It cannot be in the Houston area metroplex. It can't be with anybody I know. It can't be with any of your staff. Better not be with your staff. That's a lawsuit. You see what I'm saying, Ryan? Come up with parameters. You get the parameters, and then but if you're gonna do that, you gotta shut the fuck up afterwards. And no more of this digging in his phone, digging in the bushes, because you know what it is. And you have consented. So that's what you have to. And if your mind, honestly, a lot of women, their mind cannot not check a phone. Like you can't operate. And if that's the case, you better walk away. You don't have a choice, because that man is not going to marry you while you keep cheating him, catching him cheating. You're wasting your time and his, because you could go get you somebody else. Go date one of his coworkers. Shit. Go to the
This scenario is right up. This scenario is right up there with it. And a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of marriages are business transactions. I mean, they really are. It's an agreement. But this kind of brings me to the question of, when you see these guys that are like, oh my gosh, it turns out that I never ever liked women, and they already raised 2 kids, and then they were playing for the other team the whole time. That the woman, I'm not gonna say all of them, but a good majority, they know, right? Like, as a woman, I'm sorry, man. If you're lined up with some good masculine energy, and you're like, if that masculine energy is not into that feminine energy, there's a certain je ne sais quoi that is absent in that scenario. And so this to me is that this lady that put in the question, bless her heart, but she has picked the Wednesday of the week that she feels comfortable being in, because she knows she ain't a Friday night, Saturday night. She getting prime time. She getting the Wednesday. So if you're Wednesday, be a good one. Be a good Wednesday. That's it.
Yeah, I think he can give you a good life. It sounds like you probably don't feel like, she said that he put her through college. So I'm assuming she recently graduated, which means she's probably had a lot of, she had her child younger and things like that. Like, she's overcome a lot of stuff. So girl, if he can give you a life you're comfortable with, do not let other people define your happiness.
But did you notice, if we read what I just wrote that you just gave as the question, did you notice that every single thing that she wrote in there was not based on a place of emotion? It was based on economic.
Back in the screen.
Got me through this. It's economic. Where was the feeling there? He makes me feel great. He makes me feel valued. He makes me feel like the best. She never said any of that. Everything was economic. He bought me a car. Yep. Where's the emotion in there? That's all economic. Like, if I'm a business lawyer, I'm a business person. I'm an entrepreneur. If I read that right now, I'm like, okay, so our prenup's going to be based on economic, not emotion.
And I bet you part of her insecurity is, oh God, if we break up, I'm going to have to start all over. She ain't even got a sofa. Okay. You got to go buy an ottoman at the IKEA or Ashley Furniture. They do 90% no interest, 0%, by the way, even for bad credit. I know, because sometimes my credit's bad.
Like, if I was a lawyer too, Simone, and I'm not a lawyer, but if I was a lawyer, what you just sent me right now, this screenshot, I would actually use that as my defense as a man if we were to go to court with this woman, because I would say, Judge, Your Honor, do you see the lack of emotion that's written in here? Everything was based on economic. And quite frankly, I could spin this so many different ways, Johnny Cochran style. Like, and I'm not even a lawyer, and I could sell this shit. Like, I could sell this letter. And I'd be like, look at this. This is economic. If you didn't know we were in a relationship, you would think this was a business transaction about shares of a company. Right? Like, let's be honest. So we got to be real with it.
Yeah. But I'm not going to tell you to leave that man, girl. If he's taking good care of you, you just need to have a will. Get a will. Okay. That house needs to be yours. Because you said, I think it said he has 2 kids. So in Texas, you'd only be entitled to 1/3 of the house if he dies without a will. But the will can give you half or whatever. You can figure that out. But you need to secure, you didn't gave this man a decade. You need to secure your financial future. And I just read a statistic that says Black women at age 60 who are unmarried, their net worth is approximately $11,000. Black women at 60 who are married, their net worth is like $400-some thousand, like $400,000. It's huge.
Damn.
Ma'am,
wow.
You cannot afford to retire. You 37? Okay, so yeah, you got about like 20, 25 more years work. Baby, you ain't got nothing. You're going to be greeting people at Walmart. So as long as this man don't beat you, you might want to figure out how to make it work. Or, wait for him to die. You know what I'm saying?
The one plus about this letter, though, I will say, if she's listening, and I would say to her, one thing I can tell is that I think that she actually emotionally has closure right now. And I'm just assuming that. And I know that she might even say, what do you mean emotionally closure? I'm upset over all this. You're upset, but I think emotionally she knows what this is at this point.
Yes.
This is why this was all economic at this point, which that's why Simone's up in here saying, okay, well, I'm gonna give you some advice on the economic front, because this is kind of where you're at this point. Emotionally, I think that thing, I think the soil left the garden a long time ago.
But Ryan, I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna be honest. I don't see any incentive for him. What is the benefit to him for marriage? I see none.
Zero.
I see him as just making her his perpetual fiance.
He's got, unfortunately, I think there's what she brings to him is just the level of security of just, okay, I got somebody I can go call. I got somebody that's there. Guys it's very interesting. Males are very interesting creatures where, like you said, you pointed out earlier, you articulated way better than I did, is they're willing to go 18 years with a child that they didn't want to avoid that initial short-term, again, easy choices, hard life, hard choices, easy life. I mean, it's really that simple. And it's psychological at the same point, but it is what it is. And if it's about cheating and all that, and as a married man, I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of women out there, they could care less if a guy's married. When women see a good man, and this is another thing, if people are on a date right now, or they're going on a date this weekend or whatever they're doing, please like get in your top 3 questions when you sit down with this person, assuming they don't have ashy legs and fucked up toes. I want you to ask, after the credit question and all that, get to the question of, hey, dude, are you a nice guy or a good man? Just shut up after that. Don't add in or take out any words. Are you a nice guy or a good man? You will see, they will start their body language. And if they're a narcissist, holy shit, you will start leaning in. They will start narking out like crazy.
You're all right.
A good man, he might actually do something as simple as a smirk. Like, it's going to be very subtle. But
why? Because he knows who he is. He knows he's a good man.
Well, if he's a good man, ain't going to waste his time. And I think the fact that if that woman asked him that question, he's going to smirk for 2 reasons. Number one, because he knows he stands on business and his own values. But number 2, he knows that now he is not just with a woman that's sitting down and showing her assets. This woman is showing her brain. To a good man, brain over body. Yes, we need a physical attraction, but I promise you, mental seduction, you can do physical seduction. Mental. Mental.
That's right, girl. You fall in love with your mind before your coochie. You can get anything you want out of them. Trust.
Make love to the mind before you go from behind. Always and always, right? Let's be honest about it, right? Let's be honest.
That's a good one. That is a good one.
It's true. It's true, right? And women, I think because you want the male perspective too, is I think a lot of women out there really feel that they're leading sometimes with their physical assets, but they don't realize a good man is not signaling on that. A good man is operating at one of the highest frequencies like that is out there. And they're so mental, they're so detailed, but you'll never know.
They're very self-disciplined. They can tell women no. They will give you the hard truths up front so that you can make decisions for yourself. They're not concerned about your short-term happiness. They want to give you that long-term happiness. And so they lead with that attitude, which is so sexy.
But there's a ruse, and this is my opinion, allegedly. Right. Okay, I'm going to say allegedly illegal. I don't be sued or nothing. But I will say this. Good man and nice guys, there's such a thin line, and there's a ruse. A nice guy knows he's not a good man, so he has spent a lot of time perfecting his good man character. But you will start seeing the character break down during the conversation if the right questions are asked, because you will start hearing things like, "Yeah, my boys, nothing comes before my boys. My wing nice at it." You will start hearing their priorities. See, what will happen is they will present as a good man, but the shit that comes out of their mouth is all nice guy shit. And that's what you really they will tell you exactly what the fuck they're doing. Just listen.
So wait, the nice guy is the nice guy basically an F boy who presents well?
Oh, a nice guy is something. A nice guy is like the guy at the party or something that's like will literally make fun of his girl or be like, yeah, look at the rock
nice.
on her, or look at that. No. But a nice guy will also say things like, hey, what's your opinion, Bob? Well, I kind of. But here's what will happen: two people will ask Bob the same question. He will give the answer and agree with both people, even though there are two different opinions. He always wants to be liked. He always wants to be in agreement, right? And he's always the cool guy, right? And he'll say things like, a great salesperson is a chameleon. They'll just like adapt to the scenario, right? Right. But he always needs that confirmation.
That be in every woman's faces. They be in all the girls' faces.
Yeah. A good man. He got the Heineken. He got the cognac, standing at the club, standing just by himself sometimes, just observing. But he looked confident as fuck. And I'll tell you this right now. The women who are good women in there that are like, grade A, high frequency, they're like, who is that motherfucker? And here's what the woman's doing while she's saying it. All these nice guys, the flies that are coming, hey, can I get your number? How's your night going? Blah, blah. No, it's all noise. But you're like, who the fuck is that guy? He ain't saying shit. He just standing there. Because the energy, essence is presence, my friend. Oh, the nice guy versus good guy. Because it's true. Like I live in this, I come from a world that I played football. I did all these masculine things, but I'm so in touch with my feminine energy. I was raised by a woman. Great. So I see strong men all the time, but then I see so many weak men all the time. And I can just smell it where hey bro, like what's going on, man? They're coming to me so extra when they don't understand that I'm like, dude, I don't want to talk about a fucking tool. I don't want to talk about horsepower in the car. You don't want to talk about, I want you to teach me something today. It could be small. Like when anybody comes to my surface or presence, just teach me something. You already have my respect when you want to teach me something because I just want to learn.
I love that. So, Miss Thing, I hope that you learned something from our discussion about.
Come on now,
right?
Hope this was a clinic. This was a little free complimentary clinic, especially last.
Yes, if somebody wants to drop the Cash App, the Cash App is MISS Redwine, Miss Redwine. You can go ahead and hit that Cash App. The collection plate, like we're at church. Because I hope even if she's not gonna pay attention to what we said, I hope someone else got some valuable nuggets that you can share.
But Simone, before you end this off, because I think we got to ask you a vulnerable question. How have you made it to this juncture or timestamp, I'll call it, in your life? And kind of been like, yo, I'm good. I mean, you've seen a lot of duds. You've seen a lot of good stuff, a lot of bad stuff. How have you stood on your own business to make sure that, your values were never, how people like to say that, people want to separate you from your wallet. How have you let people not separate you from your values?
I think my values are the core of my personality and who I am, right? And I love when I run into people from a long time ago or childhood and they'll say, oh, you've never changed. I'm like, yeah, my core is the same. I try to be kind and funny. I try to make it to where your day is now better having interacted with me. But I think too with dating, and of course I've had very public heartbreaks and so forth, but with dating, I'm so grateful because even though I've dated people who, it did not work out, the quality keeps getting better and better as long as I'm working on myself. And that has been such a joy for me. Like literally each guy that I've dated since calling off my wedding, I called my wedding off like less than 2 months before, after everything was paid for. But after I did that, every single guy has gotten just a little bit better and a little bit. So I'm like, this next one, he's going to be my soulmate. And also I have to say my relationship with like God and my ancestors is so much stronger that really grounds me. Wait, okay. I'm going to tell you this quick story.
Oh, she coming with it.
This quick story about how this is part of like what keeps me grounded. I learned how to talk to God and listen. I actually tell God knock jokes and stuff because I got a lot of personal problems, but then I try to like put a knock joke in there to kind of lighten it up. And after I called off my wedding, I was just devastated. I was in bed for weeks. And one day I just called out to my grandmother in heaven. And I was like, Mima, I can't do this. I don't think I'm going to wake up tomorrow. Like, I don't want to wake up tomorrow. I can't do this. I was like, help me. And maybe later in that week, a few days later, So my girlfriend saved me. They sent me a ticket to come visit them because nighttime was the darkest. So I'm packing to go visit my girlfriends. And when I left my ex, we were living together. And when I found out what he did, which was he stole the wedding fund, when I found out he stole all that money, I just packed my shit up and just came to my house that I own. And then my father drove from Dallas to Houston, got all my shit, and made him pack up my stuff, and then got it in U-Haul. So I never unpacked it, but I was packing to go out of town. So I went to open up like a box that had makeup and toiletries, and there was an envelope in there. Well, that was unusual. It was the only envelope in there. The way he packed my stuff very nicely, and all the papers were in other boxes. Well, I don't like opening mail because I don't like fucking bad news, right? So I would have never opened any box, is the point. But I would not have opened any envelope. But the envelope is with my makeup. I open it up and I look at it. It was a letter. The last time I saw it was at my grandmother's house at her kitchen table. Specifically, she was passing out the mail. She hands it to me and my mom snatches it from me because my grandmother says, "Hey girl, you got mail." And I'm thinking, my grandmother lives in San Antonio. I was like, I shouldn't have any mail in San Antonio. I don't live here. And my mom's like, "That's not for you." And she takes it and she looks at my grandmother like, why would you do that? And I was getting ready to go off to college. And my grandma says, tell her what it is. Well, it was a letter from the St. Joseph's Credit Union of San Antonio. My grandmother made my mom open a secret bank account because my dad was financially irresponsible. Why did I call off my wedding? Because my fiance was financially irresponsible. So in seeing that letter, I was like, oh my God, I feel like this is a sign from God that I'm doing the right thing. This is a sign from my grandmother. When I called out to the heavens and I called out to her for help, saying, baby girl, it's going to be okay. And the letter was literally from the credit union saying, hey, we've got this money in account. Like, my mom never touched it. She would put money there, but it was in my name. So my dad would never find out about it. My homegirl comes over and I'm telling her about it. And I was like, look at the letter. And I was like, I feel like this is a sign from my grandmother, who's at this point been dead for like 15 years. And I hand it to my homegirl and she goes like this. She was like, oh, and she goes like, oh my God, the hair on my arms are standing up. I was like, what is it? And she was like, you didn't look at the date? And I was like, yeah, it was from like 20 years ago. And she was like, no, look at the date. It was dated 1999, but the day of my wedding.
Wow.
So yeah, my wedding was supposed to be September 3rd. So it was September 3rd, like 1999. What are the second chances? They say those are not just coincidences, but I felt like that was affirmation that I was doing the right thing, because I was terrified to leave the relationship because I felt it was my only chance to be a mom and have children. But that for me was reassurance from God that it's going to be okay, but you have to trust and you have to listen. And since I've done that, I have dumped a number of otherwise great guys who are stuff wrong with them. But as I've done it, I've learned. And I think what keeps me connected is listening to God, hearing God, and even when I'm terrified, doing what He wants me to do.
That's a testimony right there. It doesn't happen to you. Sometimes it happens for you.
Well, thank you so much. Oh, wait, last thing for Miss Thing. I want to give her, and then I'll give you any final words from Miss Thing, who is dealing with this engagement dilemma. Do you have any final words for her? I think you had a great tonight.
Just love yourself. Yes. Love yourself. Work on that. That's it. Love yourself. Everything else is kind of right there in front of you.
Absolutely. And sweetie, I just want to remind you, look, our grandmas one of mine, but not the other. They lived in marriages where the rule was don't embarrass me, be discreet, don't bring home no babies, and don't bring home no AIDS. So don't let other people define what's okay for you in your relationship. And don't feel like you got to tell anybody or get anybody's consent. But in that prenup, you need to go ahead and throw in there that he need to get a vasectomy. That way he don't be having no babies on you like old Stephon Diggs runs around. I want to tell Cardi B, don't take this man back until he get a vasectomy. Okay? The way he be sprinkling nut around town. Have that man, you can put that in the prenup that he got to get a vasectomy. That way he really can't embarrass. They don't protect from AIDS, but it'll protect from the embarrassment of a baby.
I love that.
Well, thank you, Ryan, so much for joining us with all this mess that we had today. I really
Simone, you're the best.
You're the best. Where they can find you.
Anywhere. Google me, Instagram, all that. And for your female audience, I founded Brand Life Advisor. I'm very passionate about that because we just literally help women who feel undervalued and underpaid monetize their skills. And I always say same skill, different income, just depends on how you structure it. So with that being said, Simone, thank you for having me. And I'm sure we're going to do many of these. You are a friend and a Team Holtz Club card carrying member. So we appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And guys, don't forget, if you're injured anywhere in the United States, you can give us a call. You can go to SimoneRedwine.com to book a free injury consultation, or call 855-4-SIMONE, Simone with a Y. Ask for an injury consultation and it will be free. I would love to help you. All right. Take care, guys. Bye-bye. This is your legal bestie with, is that legal?
Thanks, Simone. That's so good. That was fun. How
If that